Oh, so it happened, fellas. It's the beginning of the end. I'm riding high in a 7-day ban from X. Gonna have to make a backup account, start funneling people to there. All I said was, Elon, Matt, we're getting very mixed signals. Are we putting on the hoods and and hanging out with black people or not? I'm going to be really embarrassed if I'm the only one doing it. Didn't like that. It got some traction, but it is not long for this world. Oh boy. Well, I don't know if you guys seen this Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes debate. I think it's at maybe like 3 million views. Oh boy. We got some things to cover, fellas. And we're going to try and skate it through the algorithm. Let's do a little bit of, what? Well, hanging out music? Yeah? As the bodies are rolling in, let's look at some of the, comments here so far on this, before some of them get wiped. Piers playing Nick's greatest hits, and Nick sitting back, like Kobe watching his own highlights. Very true. Matt Walsh asked Ben Shapiro if he could watch this video. Absolutely. Piers Morgan Uncensored, except the parts we don't want to air, so we censor them. So the thing with that is... Can't focus with that. So the thing with that is... they censored the Nick saying the N-word, which, with the soft A, I think we'll get to that part. Really what I'm going to be focused on is going to be from like 21 minutes to like an hour and 24. I don't really care about Fuentes on Trump, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk. Really, we're here for the blacks in the moose, right? It's kind of my bread and butter. Kind of my two favorite topics used to just be the blacks. You know, when you're an anti-communist liberal, really just the blacks. You can't really go with the moose. Once you start going at the moose, whoo, those two groups are competing. Big time, $5, thank you very much. Let's duck and go, hard R for life. Orthodox, it's incredible. The amount of religious support I get, I never would have anticipated. I grew up for a long time not meeting based Christians who enjoy offensive humor. Few more comments. I'm in the UK and got arrested for watching this. Absolutely. Quote, you have a knife problem and a sword problem. You have Aladdin. Very nice. I'm Australian and ruined my digital social credit score to watch this. Yeah, when Piers asks Nick, how do you feel about shootings at school? And Nick goes, I think they're bad. Oh, it is. Nick Fuentes is bereft of any of the, like, oh, you think that about me? Oh, please don't think that about me. Not the best strategy rhetorically, I would say. I'm black and I've changed the batteries out of my smoke alarm just to watch this. Mind you, that has 41K likes. Okay? Tough day at the office for your boy Piers. Do you carry tampons in case your female friends get a period or something? That was a good one. Piers not understanding per capita or Catholic doctrine was hilarious. Yeah, there's gonna be some per capita malfunctioning going on. You know, I made a video on this. Doing rather well. Let's see what some of the fellers have to say. It was funny, Piers. Go get your 7K. The post-war consensus is crumbling and the religion of secularism has been cast to the corners of the earth. Now that is a video by P.F. Young as well, a centrist. A very based, enlightened centrist who talks to far-right people all the time. But that is very much on the precipice of becoming more and more of a public conversation. Every time you get a liberal to understand per capita statistics, an angel gets its wings. Absolutely. Just want to show you how funny the fellas are. Bro, the too soon was hilarious. Yeah, after the Hollow cost attempt at demoralization. And he's like, oh, he sounds like, Piers Morgan sounds like Mr. Mackey. Oh, you think that's funny? Yeah. Oh, really? Yep. Horrible strategy. Wow, Stalin and Hitler arrested that guy's parents. That sounds like the world's coolest buddy cop film. That is going to be said. We are going to cover that. This is the real-life version of the Joker interview. There is a Joker line in here. I don't have it queued up. Maybe I'll be able to get it queued up. Okay, so, fellas, we got some motion, okay? We got some movement from Adam and Sitch. Now, I have said publicly that I named the stream that I co-host with Newsfist Artie and Fist to mimic the name Adam and Sitch, okay? I'm trying to do right-wing versions of content that's online, because you'll watch something and then they still don't want to be racist and they still don't want to be anti-Semitic. Those two things don't exist. Racist just means anti-white. Anti-Semitic just means anti-white. The definition, and I'll say this too, because on Adam and Sitch's stream, there's something called Sitch's Law, where in a debate, the debate just becomes about the definition. And I like to counter that by saying the definition of a word is its application in society. And the application of racist and anti-Semitic in society is just to shut up white people and not like white people. But one of the fellas went in their chat and put us on their radar, which is kind of exciting.
That's pretty funny.
Is Artie for Adam and Fist is for Sitch?
Yes, Adam and Sitch.
That's interesting.
Right. Talk about like the most niche audience you could find, you could get. Like, listen, we have to pull the white nationalist from.
And so it says, the chat says, Artie and Fist is a YouTube show based on your show, and it is run by two avowed white nationalists that still call themselves liberals and watch you guys. So that's not true, but I appreciate it. I used to watch Adam and Sitch all the time. They used to do 12-hour streams on Sundays, and I would listen to the entire thing. Fist does not know this world, this community at all. I'm going to shield my boy as much as I can. It's not going to be an us versus them kind of thing. I will take all of the brunt of the things I'm going to say about them. And actually, I'm going to have to do a stream tomorrow about their coverage of the very conversation we're going to watch tonight. I will show you a piece of that I'm going to be chewing on, and it's going to be the exact reason why I created such a stream, but that's for a little bit later.
Sitch and Adam.
Wait, God Mode Enabled has he's super chatted us. What the fuck? Artie and Fist is a YouTube show based on your show, and it is run by two avowed white nationalists. Now, fellas, that still call themselves liberals and watch you guys. That's incredible. He's chatted in our chat. I think he's trying to stir some shit, which I don't mind. That's funny.
Are you an avowed white nationalist, Artie? I mean, like, are you?
And this is what's great, dude. I have so many clips of me saying I'm a civic nationalist, right? Do you have any idea how long game I'm fucking going for? Okay, how early I'm planting these seeds, where I can have a compilation of myself calling myself a civic nationalist, arguing with my audience that I'm a civic nationalist.
I mean, for the record, guys, I'm not a white nationalist. I just think that you need a sort of mostly ethnically and religiously homogenous society for any kind of modern Anglo governance to work.
And then
make
Sitch,
of that what you will.
And then Sitch would dig deep into his TDS and go, "So you're an apologist? So you kind of won." Maybe, I don't know. Depends what mood he's in.
I mean,
but let's keep going. Hold on.
So we're gonna do our own spin-off show.
I mean, I think we do have some white nationalists in our audience, which
There's like 3.
Get your numbers up, pussies. Okay.
There's a rookie number.
You're feeding me. All you're doing is feeding me. Try to hang on to them. They're great people. That's the thing. How not shitty is our chat, by the way? No, it's the nicest fucking
Fellas
people.
in the chat?
And this is the conclusion that I came to, where I'm like, I keep hearing that Nazis are scary. I talk to people that call themselves Nazis. They're not scary. Like, these people are never scary. They're never like these insane people. Like, they never want to cut off the breasts and penises of children. They never want to flood the border with shitloads of fucking immigrants. They actually just seem to. It seems like they're the center. The people that are being called Nazis.
We are actually a very inclusive community. We don't care what color you are as long as you're racist, right? You might say that, in fact, we are the most...
Very nice. And so I watched a little more of it. And so let's go to that.
maybe.
Gamo for 2 hours says the channel name is rhetorically defective. Oh, so it's not RD and Fist.
Oh, really? So it is real.
There you go.
Huh.
Well, good for him.
Rhetorically
I'm glad that we're
defective.
inspiring content creators. I guess. Okay. And get a 4-year degree under
Say that again?
usually 2 years, but even with those 2 useless.
Yeah. You might as well just
No clue to do that contracting
And
work. Which I
then-
mean, yeah, if you can just get
ship, you might be able to say. That's how I know
Get a
I'm
little
a scrub and you're
boost.
we're in the wrong business.
ways.
Wow, this channel has more views than us. Holy fucking
What?
shit. We're in the
No,
wrong
that's not
business.
true. Adam, that's not true.
We upload a bunch of videos constantly. What do you mean?
No, I'm just kidding. Oh, they went after AJW.
Oh,
Holy
no.
shit.
Friend of the show.
Okay, we got to do some research here.
Okay.
We'll see if that research happens. I'm not telling anyone to communicate with them, but it seems to be happening pretty organically. The Last Remembrancer, $5. Thank you very much. The Original Bad Boys. I think that's a film. We can all enjoy the Holocaust. We can. We actually can enjoy that. And Nick Fuentes is going to be leading that brigade. Fellas, I got mixed feelings about Nick Fuentes myself. People in my community have some mixed feelings about Nick Fuentes. You have to understand what he's doing supersedes any of your feelings in this conversation. This is a historically significant, quote-unquote, debate that we're going to watch right now. Big time, $5. Thank you very much. Newsfist, my fellow sinner. I need help creating an ethno-state. My fellow British white boy. Well, that's the funny thing, is that, like, I don't consider myself a race realist. But I'm really good at arguing for it. But I used to say to, like, white supremacists, this is in, like, 2017, where I was like, start with, like, a white street, a white neighborhood, a white town, you know? You're going for the state too early. They didn't like that, very totalizing ideology. Then we have Eric Arval that's starting up Return to the Land, actually doing that, and so I can be way more on board with that. But before I talk about this, let's see how Adam and Sitch talk about a portion of this conversation.
Or opposed to them. How does that square with your position that you don't hate any Jews?
Well, do you take issue with my use of the term world Jewry?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Or do you take issue with it? Do you have a problem with that?
Clarify what you mean by it.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. The gaslighting's crazy because I use that expression on my show all the time. I say organized Jewry, world Jewry, and Do you know that for like 30 years, the World Jewish Congress has an annual keynote called The State of World Jewry? Barry Weiss has given it. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. She gives the State of World
but what
Jewry
do you
address.
mean?
Now, what Nick Fuentes is saying is, you know, if you're in my community, pretty obvious and straightforward. But what if, even though you're not in the left, but what if you're like a centrist, enlightened centrist liberal who's not right-wing, who still believes that racist and anti-Semitic are actual terms with definitions? Especially when Sitch is a moo. How do you respond to that?
But Nick, what do you mean by it?
So the argument is, well, when I say that the Jews are all organized to subvert society, that's fine. I'm actually just referring to this charity nonprofit organization, this pro-Jewish activist organization that I'd never even heard of till today. Most people have never even fucking heard of today. And they have some speech where they use the same language where they say, you know, Jewry. That's actually what the entire time he was talking about this. That's was what he meant. He didn't mean that all Jews were working together to subvert society, Western society. No, he was just talking about this one charity organization.
He was just talking about this one charity organization, the World Jewish Congress, which has been around since 1936. And one of the key people is David de Rothschild, a French banker and a member of the French branch of the Rothschild family. So it's incredible how they maintain their Mooish ancestry, and then there's different ethnicities within that and different branches of different countries. Now, Rothschild, you can just forget that name, Sitch, okay? This is how the rabbi hole starts, okay? That's the work that I have to do tomorrow. Just focusing on Sitch. Oh, buddy.
I mean, people are word thinkers, and I do think people focus on the word jewelry or world jewry and
Yes.
think that that is something a
pretty
conspiracy
bad.
theory. Yeah, something a
Yeah.
conspiracy theorist says.
Right.
Yeah. And he
It's-
did completely neutralize that argument immediately by pointing out that no, this is a common term that Jewish people themselves use. It's
He-
not.
Now, as we've covered on stream, when they say it about themselves, it's different than when you say it. Where do we think the blacks learn this from? With the N-word. They can say it, you can't. They didn't come up with it. They can't even build a fucking country. You think they can come up with that? It was taught to them. Little bit of little lore there. Suck Duck, $5, thank you very much. We're commanded to choose between Sodo, mites, and peas versus Nates, and we're all of a sudden surprised when people become Nates. Well, yes. I often say it's not who we are, it's what we became, because we've been in this wolf in sheep's clothing liberalism. So that's why I can still hang on to the term liberalism, because it's not real liberalism. It really isn't. Liberalism's very individualistic. I am a hyper-individualist, okay? What I'm doing online, I would like to consider like a digital mercenary, okay? I need to not be affiliated with any other group because I'm going to say something and I don't want them to be associated with it. I want someone to be able to walk away from what I said whenever they want and not have to like cope and try to explain what I said. It's for the consideration of other people. DPK! Deadpool Kid for $2, thank you very much. I wasn't Oasis until I made me Oasis. Unironically. Be able to delve into that in a little bit.
Not
He
a
neutralizes
conspiracy
it.
theory.
Well, here's the problem. Yeah, he'll neutralize it to people who are dumb and are not paying attention to the conversation and don't know anything about the topic.
I mean, look, I think that's optimistic. I think that's very optimistic.
Okay, maybe.
I think this neutralizes it to normies as well. That's why I think, look, I think I'm looking at this completely differently as you. I'm looking at this as this is like a good performance for normies. And you're looking at it like, everyone can see right
Oh,
through
no, I'm
this.
not looking at it from the perspective whatsoever of in this conversation I'm having with you about this.
Uh-huh.
There's two different conversations. This conversation about whether this is persuasive to different people, and then there's the conversation of, well, let's actually analyze Nick's points to see if they're true or not, right? And those are two different conversations.
These
So you
guys
could
know
be
about
right
truth.
that maybe that is persuasive to people. That's fine, but I'm going to analyze it and say why it's a stupid fucking point.
I'm just giving my
It's a
opinion.
stupid point because, as a Jewish person, I've never heard another Jewish person say Jewry ever in my entire life. As a Jewish person,
So this is when I realize I'm gonna have to cover this on stream. Take this in.
and say why it's a stupid fucking persuasive to people. That's fine, but I'm going to analyze it and say why it's a stupid fucking point. It's a stupid point because, as a Jewish person, I've never heard another Jewish person say Jewry.
You heard that right. It's a stupid point because Sitch has never heard of it. And he uses, like a leftist, standpoint epistemology. Hey, I'm a moo, and I've never heard of this. Well, it's been around for almost 90 years now, so it's a stupid point. I'm getting mad already. It's a stupid point because Sitch hasn't heard of it. Sitch, you're a fucking midwit. In what universe is that a good point? While calling other people dumb! I'm getting mad. Okay, let's get into it. I'm fired up. So that'll probably have to be tomorrow. I think the bodies are rolling in, so to speak. Fellas, we got 70 likes. Looking at 340 live right now. If we could hit that like button, have ourselves a good old-fashioned hog wild outhouse slop-off in the comments and on stream and have some fun, get more bodies in. You could do that. That's up to you. It's out of my hands at this point. Okay. We're really going to do this, huh? Let's try and see if nothing gets copyright struck. That would be good. Michael Allen, $5. Thank you very much. If you want a laugh, watch It's the Jews by Harold Sababa. I could go for a laugh with how mad I am after that Sitch part just then. Big time, $2. Thank you so much. Fallacy of personal incredulity. Yeah, I like that a lot. No, I don't like it, but I like that phrasing a lot. Yeah, just act indignant, and that's your argument. And without further ado, that's exactly what we're going to get with Piers Morgan. So we're probably going to do from 20 minutes in to like an hour and 24 minutes in.
But it's a humorous anecdote. These are kind of the attitudes of baby boomers in society, but you're trying to spin it into a narrative, which is you're a product of your environment.
So Piers Morgan had just invoked Nick Fuentes' father. Nick Fuentes is like, yeah, I'm a racist. And he's like, oh, so then your dad's a racist. And he's like, well, now you're like putting my father in jeopardy, so stop talking about him. That was essentially the first 20 minutes. And Nick's backstory, which you've already heard.
Your dad's racist because of this joke. Now you're a racist. And I don't think that's a fair characterization.
Okay. People can make their own minds up. They can go back and listen to you say it. I mean, the beauty of what I'm going to talk to you about in this interview is that almost all of it is just going to be reminding you what you have said and asking you what you meant. Your position about that story is that it was a joke, okay? I want to come to something else you said. This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what?
I need you to understand how fun this was to edit because of the faces that Nick Fuentes makes the entire time, okay? He is mugging like Trump in 2016 when these things are being played. We are hitting Jim Carrey. We are hitting right-wing Jim Carrey level of faces that he makes. And he's making them for us, fellas. That is to the audience.
What you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yup.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, all of them?
No, for the most part.
We're going to encounter this a lot, the not all, so you think all of them, which just like, you couldn't be any more bad faith, okay? Especially with what white people, I want you to look at this as to what white people have gone through in the past decade, okay? In terms of speaking in swaths and broad generalizations, and how there's accredited degrees in whiteness studies in the country, okay? Stop, bro. Piers, don't do it, dude. Don't do it.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
You
the
just
crime
said
problem.
blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black
I love this. Nick is like, oh, dude, no one knew what I was talking about. Great clarification. I definitely should have added that. Great point.
murderers.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's a good addition to that.
Great point, dude.
That's a great point.
You think it's funny, or
Yeah, I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
do you think a black American?
Dude, Piers keeps going, you think it's funny? He's like, yeah. You think it's funny what you said? Yeah. That's all he has. Doesn't it remind you of, like, the SJW debates you would see in, like, 2015? Where it's incredulity. It's like, yeah, that's really the only argument you had was to try and shame me? That's it? That's all you had? Oh, gonna be a long day at the office for you, buddy.
Would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your
Very
show.
Trump.
They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time?
Incredible point. Incredible point. Nick Fuentes does a great job of digging himself into a hole just to show how easy it is to dig himself out, which I rhetorically very much support and appreciate. Caesar the Great, $5. Thank you very much. Artie and Fist first Adam and Kvetch debate when. Listen, like I was explaining, I don't want to reel Fist into anything, okay? We'll deal with that as it comes. I'm not in a hurry to do these debates because I'm going to get mad. It's just going to be annoying. Like when Sitch makes the point of like, oh, just because of this one nonprofit organization. It's like, how many do you want, Sitch? And what am I going to do? Sit him down? This is why I make videos. Because then I have to sit him down for a 20-minute video that I would make, edited. It's very frustrating to like have to ignore everything I know in a conversation. That's why I'm defective on that front, I suppose. Holy! Kings? Olo Wings? King Solo Wings. King Solo Wings. $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Pierce is a feminist fuck. He has no balls. He probably lives in fear every day. Go wise, stick together. Yeah, this is becoming more and more known. And here's the thing. I'm a civic nationalist, but I mainly focus on pro-white advocacy because that is the true liberal position. I have a huge fairness principle, okay? They're actually marginalized, they're actually being treated unfairly, and they should be able to advocate for themselves like every other group. That's point one. Point two, like how the Moos operate. We want to be able to do what the Moos do, okay? We want to be able to have a country with a ethnic identity, okay? It's the double standard is what's being keyed in on, and as many Moos have admitted, that's why they invoke anti-Semitism, just like the left. Where do you think they learned it from? Just to shut down conversation. Last super chat for right now. Suck Duck, $2. Thank you very much. Not all. We know it's not a rule. Grow up, everyone. Exactly. Let's try and see if Nick's going to tell him to grow up.
Time. That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west. See what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too.
Yes.
And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was
They don't stick
just remind
around.
me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
No,
I love
it's 1
this.
in 20.
No.
I love it.
Less than 1 in 100 black US men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
I don't know if you know this about me, but before you know who I am now, I was debating in the comment section on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, for hours a day, okay? One of my favorite tactics I used to love to use is to say something that was obviously incorrect, so then they would show me evidence and research as to how I was wrong, and it would still make my point, right? It's bait. It's not 1 in 20, it's 1 in 100. Oh, when do we ever encounter 100 black people in an area? Sporting events? Like, 1 in 100? Still very concerning, wouldn't we say? Great, dude. Love it.
America.
That's not true. I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit a murder.
So your rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics.
Even
say.
your number is rough,
yeah,
Piers.
there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept that the official crime statistics are 1 in 100, or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100,
right?
That's a lot of people.
Right.
Piers. I mean,
Sure,
this is
a lot of white
problem.
people commit murder too.
The classic whataboutism. Yeah, well, what about white people? It's like, oh, well, what about the fact that that's not what we're talking about? And are we ready for the per capita, fellas? Are we ready for it?
Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally
And that should be
commit
it.
violent crime than white people. And people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most mass
what's with the
shootings-
interruptions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very nice.
You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway,
Everyone
the Blue
knows this.
Line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take a listen to this clip.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, it couldn't be clearer, really, unless you want to say that's another of your jokes. But you're
Like, Piers, you just tried this, and it went terribly. But just like the moves, just like the left, they just got one trick up their sleeve. It's really all they have. Last remembered, sir, $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Piers Morgan is cucked by his wife, who publicly stated that she can't stand him. So he tried to give the leftist dad talk to Nick. Embarrassing. Yeah, we're going to cover that on Friday. I got to leave a lot of meat for my boy Fist. We're covering that on Friday, and that is really fun to look at. Rich5, $25, thank you so much. Sitch had a video called SJWs Are Not Liberals. The guy wanted to create the woke right before James Lindsay. Wow. So same thing with Dev, Short Fat Otaku, where they were liberals that were criticizing the leftists and being like, they're not liberals, they're leftists, they're communists, but they never made the jump to go right wing. And look at them now. You have to go right wing, fellas. I'll help you get there. I got a right wing for everybody. Let me know your objection. Atheist? Yep, I got that one. Civic nationalist? Yeah, I got that one too. Oh, you're a liberal? Yeah, be right wing. Yep, got all of them. Come on, hop on board.
basically saying, yeah, I'm a racist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're fine with saying you're a racist?
Ye said yes.
Totally. I think everybody's racist. I think everybody, if we're being honest, is racist. I think everybody, the only people.
Do you see how he said yes, and then you go, oh no, he admitted to being racist? Digs himself right out, okay? He knows what he's doing so well. He's so ready for this conversation.
That aren't racist or pretend not to be are white people to their detriment. Everybody else is racist.
But earlier in the interview, you got aggrieved at the idea that your father was a racist. You wanted to make emphatically
because
sure
my father's.
He's not.
Because my father doesn't share my same views on that.
So he's the exception to the everyone's a racist.
Well, everybody's a little bit racist. You're right. So maybe everybody. The difference is you're attacking my father. You know, he
I'm
can
not
get
attacking
fired
your
from his
father.
job.
I'm not attacking your father.
You are.
No, I'm not. I don't know your father. And to be clear, I have no knowledge about him at all.
Well, then let's leave him out of it.
Well,
Let's leave him out of it if you don't know.
Right?
Hang on, Nick. You put that story into the public domain on your show. I'm simply reminding you of what you told everybody.
Okay, Piers. Well, on Friday, we're going to put in the public that you didn't put in there that you are certifiably a cuck and your wife cheats on you and she proudly shows how she fucks younger guys. Like pool boy kind of stuff. Like classic stuff, okay?
Millions of people about your father. If you now want to retract it, fine. If you want to say it was a joke, which is what your position was earlier, fine. But I'm allowed to put to you things you've said publicly. That's not unfair. That's not.
This is the liberal thing now. This is the same thing with James Lindsay, Joel Berry, the Babylon Bee guys, Constance Kissin, trigonometry. You're allowed to, but all I'm saying is it's so effeminate.
Me targeting your father. You put that story about him out
You know
there.
what you're doing. You know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
I'm
Love
asking
it.
you about a pretty shocking anecdote, which to me looked like you were saying your father made decisions about where
Still
you
talking
as a
about
family
it.
eat based on skin color of people who worked at these places. If you say, or use them, if you say that is not what you meant, that's fine. You can respond any way you like. But the idea I can't ask
Do whatever you
about it
want.
without you saying I'm attacking your father is ridiculous.
Well, you are, and you know what you're doing. And there's a political culture in America where if you have the wrong views, you get fired from your job. And my father has a job. And if you go on here and say you charge him with racism or something, and I'm put in a position where I don't look like I'm sticking to my guns if I don't say my father's a racist, you're putting him in jeopardy. And he's not here to defend himself or explain his views. And it's very low. And I think you know exactly what you're doing. And people.
So he does a really good job of saying, you know exactly what you're doing. Also, I'm just doing this to obscure copyright when I do this right now. Just in case. It looks like everyone's been fine, but just in case. But he does a really good job of deflecting and returning the moral condemnation back onto Piers and telling him he knows what he's doing and just moving forward. Obviously, stating it as a matter of fact, I think works really well. Big time, $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. When are we going to talk about brown people getting labeled white in their prison photos? The Afghani who pew-pewed the two guardsmen, we saw his booking photo, it said white. The amount of things that we have to get to. I could, yeah. I know. You're right. I know. That's in the queue of things to talk about, definitely.
Can see what you're doing. I'll defend my views. And I think that, you know, so let's leave him out of it. Let's just not talk about my father.
Please.
Because my father isn't here. I'm here.
Okay, well,
I'll
then do you
defend
accept
my
that you
views
shouldn't
and I'll
talk?
defend
Okay,
the anecdote.
listen, that's fine. But then do you accept you shouldn't talk about your father on your show? And you shouldn't tell...
Absolutely
Won't let it
not.
go.
Absolutely
So
not.
it's fine for you to put a story out there which would make most people who listened to that story or watched it at the time on your show conclude that he was racist. It's fine for you to do that. But if I then ask you about it, I'm the one who's being
Still
unfair
going.
and I've crossed a line. Is that what you're saying?
Scumbag.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, you're
that's
being
fine.
malicious.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, people are watching this live.
Yeah, we
They can
know.
draw their own conclusions about whether...
Well
I'm
aware.
Well, and-
Yeah, and I'm
and
sure
they will.
afterwards, by the way, you'll say, he ambushed me with your own...
No,
with your
no,
own
no,
words.
whoa.
With your own words.
That's a little presumptuous. I'm not going to say it's an ambush, but I think that's a low blow. And I think
Okay.
you know what you're doing, and that's fine. You're a tabloid journalist. I expected that. I don't think it's an ambush because I
Perfect.
knew it would be like this. And people will see what you're doing, and I think they'll say it's low. But as
Okay.
far as you want to
Returns it right back onto him and moves forward. He's really good at like in football, like marching up the field, doing a series of short plays to get to the next down. He's never has to do a Hail Mary.
talk about racism,
I do.
Let's talk about racism.
Okay,
Let's leave my dad out of it.
Look, you've admitted you're a racist, correct?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Own it.
Okay, that's fine. You're perfectly
Okay.
entitled.
You're
in
allowed
a free
to.
democratic
You can do
society
it.
to stare down the barrel of his camera and tell me you're a racist.
Stop.
People can judge you accordingly. Many
I know.
people, many
Stare down the barrel of the camera, making it seem like okay, dude. All right.
people who have assumed that you're racist will now have heard it from your own lips. That's fine.
There you go.
That's the
Sure.
point. The point of this interview is to go over the things you've said, which have led people to reach conclusions about you, and to ascertain whether those conclusions are fair
Come
and
on.
reasonable or
Hurry
not.
it up.
That's it.
Thank
so I want
you.
to play you another clip. This is where you talk
Yeah.
about why white people are justified in being racist. Let's take a listen to this.
First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
You stand by
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the definition of insanity. Can we all agree on that?
So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Why do you think?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition.
Having to explain this
I think
in
that white people-
2025
people have
is
been
comical.
Beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is, that when you
Absolutely.
go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent. And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that
Now, in terms of the colorblind argument, like, that does sound good, and liberalism does come from elements of Christianity. There is a sense of universalism there, and I would love for that to be true, okay? That universalism, unfortunately, it is simply not true. Now, is there a genetic component? Sure. I can't control that. I don't focus on that too much. I focus more on the environmental, and you have to admit, the Moos have had a large hand, by their own admission, in making these demographics be this way, specifically to attack white people. So, that can be a part of a larger dialectic.
at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people, are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal.
And I mean, this is very observable. We've seen this with how they're, not as hard on crime, and the crime got worse. Piers, look at London, look around you. You know this is true.
Be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the friendly stranger.
This is actually a Patrice O'Neill bit that I put in a video called The Perfect Opinion on the Friend Word,
And they pretend to be a friendly stranger and then they mug them.
where Patrice O'Neill says to white people, if you see a bunch of black guys walking down the street, run. It's better to be, guilty and alive than feeling good about yourself and dead. And that was from, 2003, dude.
How do you feel about mass shootings at school?
I think they're bad.
The vast majority of the mass shootings.
I'm sure
at
it's
schools.
white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the
Now, he said antisocial violence. Obviously, that's probably not correct, but he's speaking on the fly. Last remembrance, sir, $5. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. Piers is this way because his wife is on the BBC every day and not the Broadcasting Corporation. Yeah. Yeah. I like that one a lot. That was sitting right in front of my face and I didn't say it. I'm jealous.
for the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime. And it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school
Here we go.
shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm
And
just
what proportion of-
The
what
proportion.
I'm curious.
proportion?
I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in
Wait,
these
is my
schools.
mic working?
Should they?
I mean, this is like Blood Sports 101 from back in the day. With Destiny debates and whatnot that they used to have. Destiny used to say the same thing. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Is my mic working? Is my mic functioning right now? Do you not hear what I'm saying? That's a classic online Blood Sports tactic. I'm almost positive Andrew Wilson was using that one as well in 2018.
What proportion?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population. And everybody understands that.
Right. Okay.
2/3 of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
Is Piers doing this struggle session to himself right now? On per capita? $2 from Suck Duck. Thank you very much. Gonna need a pool on the speed of the divorce. Nah, he's used to it. Why do you think Piers Morgan has these cucked positions publicly? He has a humiliation kink. He loves it. Double Mumble, $5. Thank you so much. It's like Piers is going off a script and Nick went off it instantly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Piers is also going to invoke his research team, like out loud, audibly, about the Hitler is cool thing. Modern Magus, $4.99. Thank you so much. Do you stand by? Yes, absolutely. Refreshing AF. Yeah, exactly, right? I know. Nick Fuentes is speaking to a lot of souls, to the souls of a lot of people, of things. It's the same conversation over and over again, and he's getting right to it. It is very refreshing. Slosher52, $5. Thank you so much. I've only seen clips. Does Nick point out that Piers spends more time holding people accountable for no words than Asian struggle snuggle gangs? No, but I have made a video on Piers Morgan having a very, centrist opinion on the Asian gangs. No, they don't get into that, but that's a very good point.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's a question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings.
Piers is a journalist.
Are you playing dumb or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference is
what I'm saying to you is by your logic, if
just going to repeat himself.
The vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres.
Per capita.
Because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb or are you actually dumb?
So Piers has this really cringe 90s liberal thing in his head where, it really comes down to thinking things are racist. So he hears racist and he goes, just because of the color of their skin, all they have are reductive arguments. No, it's their behavior. We make jokes that we're judging them on the content of their character, and the content of their character is correlated with their skin color, supplemented by the fact that they think they're supposed to act this way because of their skin color. Now, is there a genetic argument? Absolutely, but I like to focus on the environmental issue with it. Because that we can do something. What am I going to do with the genetics, fellows? Okay, what am I going to? There's nothing to say about it.
It's about proportionality. You are because you're. Well, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita, and everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools. Why do you think parents pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people? Because they know that if they go to the black school.
This is the same thing that I've invoked online in arguments as well when you're talking to the dark, pigmented, concaven skull of a certain person that, is trying to shit on white people. It's like, why do you think the property value lowers when y'all come in? And why do you think it raises when we move in through gentrification? There's very observable realities that supplement these points. Big time, $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Why would I ever listen to a boomer who said his people disappearing in their homeland is evolution? He can go gargle bleach. Forgive me, Lord. Yeah, dude, these people will bring the demon out of you. If I had the power to forgive you, I would. But I'll leave that up to the other guy. The big guy upstairs.
School, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be, you talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not livable.
I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same. Black and white.
For white people, the proportion of the proportion again,
of the
are you hearing it? No.
So you see,
What's
I
the
think you're
proportion?
talking
Are you
about
hearing it?
inconsistencies. A lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this in real time because you do have a tendency to just come out with a lot of old baloney.
We have a bunch of fact checkers checking this in real time because you just come out with a bunch of baloney. Are you going to show it on screen? Piers, just make it up. You're not showing anything on screen or where this research comes from. Just make it up, dude. What is the point of having a team behind you if you're not going to show it?
And when you say,
Okay.
well, it's true. And when you're confronted
What-
with
but you're-
when you're
wait,
confronted
what's
with
the
reality,
figure?
you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator and white people that have committed school shootings as the numerator,
He has to invoke 3rd to 4th grade long division to try to explain this to Piers Morgan right now. Esteemed journalist Piers Morgan.
what's that
For
percentage?
both black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
No.
And yet-
Tell me the number, and then
The only focus of your attention is the black shootings, the black crime. You don't want to live around black people. You want to avoid black people. You don't want interracial marriages or relationships that may produce black people. And yet, when I point out to you that there are many parts of crime in America where actually there's a majority of white people that perpetrate them, you don't care. You don't have any interest in
Yeah.
that. It doesn't
Yeah.
exercise your mind. Maybe because
No,
you don't.
see, no one's
maybe 'cause you
buying
don't
this.
have
This
kids.
argument lost. No one is buying this. Everybody understands per capita, and people can even see what you race ahead and say, well, we're comparing the proportion of white and black school shooters. I said, no, compare the proportion of school shooters that
Go
are
happy,
white
Nick
versus
is.
violent criminals that are black, because that was the basis of the monologue, is that you're very likely, if you encounter black people or a young black man in the city, that you're going to be the victim of a violent crime, of a robbery, a mugging, a car theft, a carjacking, or a murder. That's the difference, and it's about proportionality. And everybody sees past that because we all live in reality. You want to talk about product of your environment? People that live
Very rhetorically strong thing for Nick to say, especially on this topic, where we all see it, okay? Notice how, like, the left can't really pivot to that at all? How we all see it? No, we don't see a reality. We see not our reality, not this reality, the reality. JLM Knight, $5, thank you so much. Same energy as 1 out of 5 homeless people are women. Yeah, dude. That's a classic. You guys are on board. I love it. Meximan and Cheese, $5, thank you so much. Are the fact checkers in the UK, they might not have access to the real internet? I really should have put that in the video. I like that. That's kind of true, isn't it? Freedom of press over there, right?
in New York, Chicago, LA. We live in reality. We live in this environment and we see what it's like. And the threat, the danger in terms of probability is not, it's not even comparable. And I would add, I would say this to your point. If you're in a high school and truly, if you see a white person who looks like a little autistic, he's got the SSRI stare and he reaches for a backpack, people joke and say, run. Similarly, if you see a jalopy pulling up with a bunch of black people
A
and they got the
jalopy?
pants around the ankles, you're going to run also.
I still don't know what a jalopy is. I'm afraid to say that to people.
And I'm saying the same thing. The difference is the latter happens much more often. It's much more common. You know, in Chicago, there's like 10,000 carjackings and car thefts every day. It's in the thousands. It happens all the time. How many mass shootings committed by autistic SSRI white people?
It's also important to note how they define mass shooting, right? So they'll define mass shooting. If you look it up, what the definition of mass shooting, there is no definition of mass shooting. They will curate data, and by they, I mean beginning parentheses, beginning parentheses, beginning parentheses, they, ending parentheses, ending parentheses, ending parentheses. And so, you know, the way that they categorize mass shooting doesn't include gang violence. It's the same way where they say that, like, guns kill children, but they have to include 18 and 19-year-olds. If you're not up to speed on that, I can show it to you, but, you know, we're covering some ground here. I think most people are on board with what I'm saying and know it.
I don't even know. I mean, it's probably in the single digits in the last decade in this city. That's the difference, and everybody knows that. But you're really just trying to carry water for liberal ideology. It's an ideological position.
I'm really not. I can absolutely
It
say,
is.
yes, there is way too much black on black crime, for example, involving guns
And
in
black
Chicago.
on white also.
Yes, but there is way too much gun violence in Chicago. right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's indisputable. I've got no problem saying that. The difference is I don't then lead myself.
The gun violence in the country correlates with demographics. I could put the two maps on top of each other of a certain demographic and where the homicides are, and it is 85% accurate.
Into a thought process where I have to avoid all black people in case they shoot me. And you've already conceded that you are a racist.
Shoot you? No. They're not going to shoot you. They're going to accost you. Like, okay. Fellas in the chat, I live in a very multicultural area, okay? Everyone, including the immigrants, know to stay away from a certain demographic, but they also still know they're not supposed to talk about it. It must be very confusing to be an immigrant in the United States of America in 2025. It's not that. It's that they have a problem. They make eye contact. They talk in the middle of the street when cars are coming. Like, when I say they make eye contact, they stare. They want a problem. They want a reason because of the animosity put upon them by the left, wink, wink, the 3,000-year left, wink, wink.
So when people hear you then say, I don't want to be living anywhere near black people, they already have heard you say, I'm a racist, so they assume you're doing that because of people's skin color. I don't think you would probably dispute that, right?
Well, you're separating two different things. The monologue when I said I don't want to live around black people, that
It's because of people's skin color. You guys know when you see a well-dressed black man with a briefcase, you know, that's equal to all of them, right? It's just the skin color, right?
was after Irina Zarutska got shot. And it's true. I mean, they are a largely in this city, in Chicago, the South Side, the West Side, huge criminal population. And I don't want to live anywhere near it. And I do. I want to live in a white neighborhood. I think that that's extremely desirable. And I think even
Nick,
black people do.
Nick, you're perfectly entitled to that view.
There it is.
But when
You're
you
allowed to think that.
all this by saying I am a racist, unashamedly, then people will assume that all
He says he's a racist because it doesn't mean anything, because you're going to call him a racist anyway. He doesn't have any power anymore. The spell is broken.
your thought processes about all of these issues are driven by an aversion to people based on their skin color, which is
No.
the purest personification.
Boring.
Well, it's not an aversion. I would say it's the opposite. I like my own people. My own people are familiar to me, and I think that's true across the board. I think that people seek out other people that are like themselves, and every other group does this, whether it's blacks, Hispanics, Asians.
It's unbelievably important to say what he said, my people, our people, and then immediately talk about how this is normal. There is no far right. It's just normal. It's not horseshoe theory. It's fishhook theory. Whatever they're calling the far right is just the center. When immigrants come over, they self-segregate. This is a normal thing. It's been normal for the majority of human history until 5 seconds ago. TBP! Total Blackout painting for $5. Thank you so much. It's the same way they say right-wing violence is predominant, then count prison gangs as right-wing violence. It's just absolutely dishonest. Yeah. I don't know how much interest people have in me going into these studies. I enjoy doing it. I don't think there's a huge market for it because it's generally boring, but it teaches you everything you have to know, and it'll make you doubt everything that you've ever been taught.
You know, I get a lot of attacks when I talk about that I'm against interracial marriage. And what's funny is that every other group is against interracial or interethnic marriage. Jews,
But you're the
Chinese,
product
black
of an
people, Hispanics.
interracial marriage.
Yeah, I mean, that's debatable.
Not
Let's say
really.
for the sake
Not
of argument,
really.
sure.
No, you're the product of an interracial marriage, and your father is part Mexican. You're literally,
For the sake of
you're
argument,
literally
we
the
can
very
say sure.
person you've just told me you want to avoid.
What race is Hispanic? Is that a race?
Well, what do you think it is?
I'm asking you, what race is Hispanic?
Hispanic. Of course it's a race. It's called Hispanic.
It's a mix between two races. It's a mix between indigenous
It's
Americans
not
and
white, though,
Europeans.
is it? It's not white.
Well, you're apparently more of a racial purist than me. You got like
Not
a
really. You just keep saying you only want to live in a
white.
white neighborhood, but you're literally from a mixed race background yourself. You've literally
and I
got
live in
Mexican blood.
I know, and I live in a non-white neighborhood too. I'm trying to get out of here, though. I'm trying to get out.
Yeah, dude, I know. I get it. Well, he's saying he's trying to get out of there, but, like, are you trying to get out of there? That was Eric Arval's criticism of Nick Fuentes, where he still lives in a multicultural area. Barack Drone Obama, $2. Thank you very much. Cheers, fella. Appreciate it, mate.
Out, but here's the thing.
Do you have any non-white friends? Genuine question.
Most of my friends are.
This is like, do you have any non-white friends? We already know where this leads, right? It doesn't matter. Okay, so how is this not a witch hunt? Can you prove you're not racist? Can you prove you're not a witch? No matter what you say that about not being a witch, you can't prove it. You can't prove you're not racist, so what does the word racist mean? Well, we can define it by its application in society. Exactly. That's what racist means. Prove you're not racist. Witch hunt. That's what racist means.
Are non-white. Most of my friends are not, and non-white people love my show.
How many are black?
Honesty.
How many of your friends are black?
Why does it matter?
Many of them, like at least a dozen.
Wow.
Ye being one who you know, Sneeko being another who you also know.
Yeah. And so how do they feel when you say you just want to be away from any black people, walk away?
They
from
get it.
Well, you know what Ye told me? I'll tell you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come.
There's the cut. I'll play it again for you. I'll tell you what he said. And then he said I think he said 2 soft A's, and they cut it out.
Well, you know what Ye told
Watch
me?
for
I'll tell
it.
you verbatim what he said. That it doesn't come from a place of, and you use the word aversion. That's the first thing I'll actually dispute.
Okay.
It's not an aversion on the basis of skin color, because that would seem to suggest it's like a stubborn, irrational bigotry. I don't consider myself a bigot. I consider myself a racial realist. I'm realistic about how the races are, and I.
Fellas, did I tell you? Was it even a week ago that December is Race Realism Awareness Month? Did I just say it in the last video? Okay? If you want to bet on a horse, bet on Artie, okay? I got the sight. I can see where it's going.
Speak provocatively about it, and I speak provocatively about our tribalistic instincts and tendencies as human beings. And I'm not a liberal ideologue that says that over time and with enough education, we're all going to see this great brotherhood where we're colorblind and everybody's the same. I don't think that's ever going away. I think that race is real. It's not just skin deep. It matters to us and it matters to each other.
Now, let's take a moment to really take that in, okay? Fellas across the world, let us all close our eyes and hold hands that he just said that on Piers Morgan with 3 million views in a day. Okay? Things are changing, okay? Really take this in. It's been really tough the past 10 years, okay? However you feel about Nick Fuentes, okay? He just said that in front of a very, very large audience. This was over 100,000 live, okay? If you don't want things to go back to how they've been for the past 10 years, if you want them to change, you have to be on board with what is happening, okay? Leave everything else aside. And you might think to yourself, Artie, but I'm not white. Yeah? You think my entire audience is white? I position myself as a shit lib, dude. Yeah, you're cool. Okay. This is all you have to do. Realize that white people created the West with Christianity, okay? Realize that. And understand that I'm spending the majority of my time advocating for white people because as a liberal, I advocated for gays and blacks. They didn't give a shit. Like, okay, if I've advocated for gays and blacks as a liberal for like a fucking decade, you think me, a straight white man, can't advocate for other straight white men as a civic nationalist? Are you out of your fucking mind? I've been training in a fucking high altitude for a decade.
And black people know that, and Hispanics know that, and Asians know that, and people like me that have partial Mexican ancestry, we know that too. And I think on that basis, we can have mutual respect and understanding, not aversion based on skin color.
The reason I use the word aversion is you literally said that you should walk the other way if you see black people. That is an aversion to black people based on their skin color.
No, that's called economy of information. That's
interesting.
Economy of information. That's safety. And I said in the same monologue, if you watch it, it's like, I feel sorry. The problem is you clip the 10 seconds. I don't know if you watched the whole show, but in that monologue, I said, most black people are not violent or criminals. I said, and it's
correct.
Unfortunate that we're going to offend them when we turn and walk the other way. I said, but the problem is we don't know. We can't tell. And someone like Irina Zarutska, she sat down in front of a black man with her headphones in and wasn't paying attention because she was being a good liberal and said, I'm not uncomfortable by this. I'm progressive. Then she got stabbed in the neck. And I said, it's unfortunate.
So I want you to realize as well, with that Ukrainian woman where I'll never be able to say her name. Now, that's happened many times, okay? That situation is not unique. The reason why it's unique in this situation came after that white woman called that, whatever, Somalian the N-word, okay? Matt Walsh was like, I don't care. Where there's an elevated consciousness happening, okay? Some would say we're waking up to a new consciousness. Not even a new consciousness. It's been there, but it's been inorganically subdued in a manufactured way, to say the least.
That you would have to sit behind the black man to be safe, and if he's not violent or schizophrenic, he might be offended by that. I said, but I would rather offend him than die.
How many deranged white men have committed atrocious acts of murder in the last 10 years in America?
Proportionally, far fewer. Far fewer.
How many? Do you know how many?
Bro, proportionately, Piers. Piers, come on. I want to go to sleep tonight, Piers. Proportionately, okay?
You have a research team. You pull it up.
I mean, you're very big
on.
You're obviously extremely exercised by that one story, which was horrific for the record, absolutely horrific, and should never have happened. The person who perpetrated that evil act had a string of previous offences and should have been picked up more, and it should have been amplified more. I completely concur with all of that, but I just suspect you have no idea how many white people have committed similar crimes, do you?
You have no idea how many white, like, dude, this is the definition of insanity. Also, fellas, please like the stream. I am breaking a record right now for my account, so much appreciated.
No, because I know it's far fewer from experience.
Okay.
Because it's like you said. Well, and hang on, and I would add to that, you know, Irina Zarutska wasn't the first one. That was also after Austin Metcalf was killed in Texas.
Right.
After
But
Carmelo
how many
Anthony
times has it
stabbed
been
him in the
perpetrated
neck.
by white people?
Well, hang on, let me finish my point.
But you're
And then
implying
This always reminds me of being in an argument with a girlfriend that I lived with, because I've lived with a couple of girlfriends, where they think I'm all of a sudden mad at them when they can't see all of the obvious steps that led up to me being explosively angry. This is what's happening here. Oh, it was just that one time.
White people don't do this. And my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is of course,
Well, I never said white people don't do
Of course,
it.
deranged white people commit heinous acts. But
Oh,
you
the
don't
heinous!
either
No
know,
disagreement.
you neither know nor care. Or maybe
Absolutely
both. Maybe you do
heinous!
know, but don't care. You only seem to be focused on black people who commit crimes. And again, if you hadn't prefaced the whole debate.
Oh yeah, dude? Well, you seem to only be focused on not focusing on what he's talking about.
About racism by openly conceding you are a racist, I could read other connotations into what you've been saying. But once you've said, I'm a racist, and then you only talk about black crime, I think people can watch this and they can say, yeah, he's a racist.
All right.
And everything that he says about crime
And?
is driven through the prism of being a racist who judges people according to their skin color.
Well, it's funny because it's quite on the contrary. And I said this in a similar monologue. You know, the problem is not that I wake up and I walk down the street and I see someone that doesn't look like me and it makes me angry. The problem is there's a pattern of...
That is how we have to talk about this in general. Because you can tell the image that a liberal sees in their head when they're saying these things. You just see a person of a certain skin color and you just automatically, it's like, that must be confession through projection. Like, that is what you are thinking. It's almost like when trans people are like, oh, yeah, I bet you want to do this sexual degenerate thing. It's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. You, the one thinking about it and talking about it, that's what I'm thinking of. It's hilarious.
Of behavior, which we've all seen. Blacks in America have become narcissistic. And
Yeah.
they become narcissistic because they've been told they're victims of racism. They're victims of slavery. They've been told...
Environmental
really, there's no
argument.
accountability.
Very nice.
If they're rude, if they're inconsiderate, if they're criminal, they are told that they have no agency for their actions. They're being told, if you act in this way, it's because the white man made you that way. It's because the system's rigged against you. And
Now, who told them that? Saul Alinsky helped out with that. Alinsky, from the Connecticut Saul Alinskys.
so we have been telling black people this for a generation, and now there's no rules. Now they go, and what we hate to see as decent people, not even as white people, but decent people, even black people too, What we hate to see is rudeness, obnoxiousness, inconsideration,
Behavior.
criminality, violence, and that's that pattern of behavior that we see all over social media. On
So
the
just to
body
be clear,
cam
you
footage, on
you
cops.
don't like black people who
Oh,
play
God.
victim and are rude. Is that your position?
I don't like that pattern of
And
behavior.
who are
of-
narcissists?
All they have is the world's most reductive arguments, okay? And it's just these desperate attempts at hypocrisy.
I see where this is going.
Yeah,
Are
you're
you
ahead
going
of
to
me.
turn this around on
You're
me?
ahead of me, aren't you? Because when I said,
Very
what
clever.
black friends have you got? You said,
I am
yay.
kind of black,
Yay.
aren't I?
No, not that. You said, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying your choice of black friend is Ye, who is arguably the #1 black victimhood narcissist in America. Do you understand the problem?
Now, in the context of this conversation, that actually is a fair counterpoint. Because to the average person, you could easily make the case that Ye is a narcissist, okay? But Nick doesn't make it reductive. He actually goes into a little bit of detail.
So he's
Well,
your
no.
friend. He's one of the very few black people you want to be associated with, but he's the epitome of what you just said you abhor about narcissistic black people.
I disagree. I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because Ye, if you've ever met him in real life,
I have, yeah.
okay, well then you know he's nothing but polite, considerate.
He
When I
seems
met
very
him-
rude to me the last 2 times I interviewed him. He's
Well, but-
he's a supreme narcissist, and he's
Well, you
also.
keep interrupting me. You're very rude. Are you black?
I
'Cause you're being very rude
apologize.
by
I apologize.
So this is so clip worthy because I could easily clip out Nick Fuentes saying, "You're rude. Are you black?" And Piers just goes, "I apologize." And it could make it sound like he's apologizing for seeming black.
Narcissist, and he's
Well, you
also.
keep interrupting me. You're very rude. Are you black?
I
Because you're being very
apologize.
rude by
I
interrupting
I
me.
apologize. Sorry about that. Oh my god, I would never want to seem that way. God will enable for $2. Thank you very much. I saw the photo of Nick's dad. He was brown. I haven't seen his dad. Can someone find me a picture of Nick Fuentes' father? Please. I need to see. I need to know.
Now,
to you.
I'm giving you a hard time, but look,
okay,
I
you're
do
not
want to
giving me a
finish
hard
my
time.
point. I do want to finish my point about Ye. He is a guy who, when I was with him, wanted to make sure that everybody was heard. Everybody felt included. He's actually a very soft-spoken guy, very polite, and by the way, not violent. When you look at all the
Right.
rappers that are in the music game, many of
Now, this needs to be harped on as well. When he says Ye is non-violent, so isn't Nick Fuentes' community. And when I was just an anti-communist and not a right-winger, I was like, the left wants you more afraid of the right's words than the violence of the left. Turns out, 3,000 years of the left. Why is Nick Fuentes? Why is he so scary? He's non-violent, but he could be violent. So whenever you see someone that says they're not on the left, but they go, he could be violent, it's the same thing as, but it could lead to another Jan 6th. But it could lead to another mustache man, but it could. They want you chasing that bait of it could be that bad, rather than looking at what they're doing and, Nick is going to expose what they're doing. That's kind of embarrassing.
them, especially from Chicago drill rap, they're talking about killing people, shooting people, they gangbang. He notably, if you know about him, he got his start because he was a nerd. He wore a backpack and a polo, and he wasn't a gangbanger. He notably, if you know about him, he got his start because he was a nerd. He wore a backpack. No, and by the way, he would tell me all the time, he doesn't even feel black. They make him feel not black because he doesn't do those things.
Oh, this is the first time we've ever heard this story, right, fellas? We've never heard stories of black people being told that they're not acting black and that they're acting white when they're correcting their life, okay? You think that was an organic decision? You think that just came out of nowhere? We all know that. We've all heard it.
Because he's soft-spoken, because he's artistic, because he's a bit of a nerd or likes fashion. So I would disagree. He's actually not like that at all. But
Okay.
we're talking
He's also a Hitler-loving anti-Semite. I'm going to take a little commercial break here, and we're going to come back about.
That's why I like him.
Anti-Semitism and your views about Jewish people, and indeed what Yair said about the same subject matter.
So I love it. Going to the commercial break. And now we're going to talk about the moose, baby. This is why we're all here.
Part of the conversation, demanding truth and accountability. Okay, back with Nick Fuentes. Let's just turn to anti-Semitism. In your interview with Stephen Crowder last week, you answered emphatically that you don't hate all Jews. Is that correct? That's your position?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to play you this clip.
Well, I don't hate any Jews. Let me just amend that. I don't hate any Jews.
Okay. Okay. Let's play this clip.
The reason I've had it is because my opposition to world Jewry and Israel is rooted in absolute, uncontestable fact. We have the truth on our side. That's why we're winning, because we are telling the truth about the historical antagonism between Jews and Europeans, between Jews and Christians. The theological, historical, racial, cultural, and political antagonisms between organized Jewry and the Christians, organized Jewry and Europeans. And the reason that we are winning that argument is because it's real, it's true. I can prove it, I can show you, I can name the names, I can show you the paper trail, the money. That is why we're winning. That is why all of this is raising the consciousness.
Now, when I first watched this, I couldn't believe he showed that clip. Fellas, can we all agree that if we saw that clip on X, we would go, man, if only they would play that clip of him saying that what he's saying is true. He has all the facts. He can prove every single thing he's saying about the moose. That you would go, man, if only they would play that to a large audience, right? Why would you show Nick Fuentes saying he can prove everything he's saying? Are you going to ask him to prove everything now? What are you thinking?
When you say you have this opposition to world Jewry, I mean, it's one thing to criticize, for example, the Israeli government over what it's been doing in Gaza. I've done that myself. When you talk about world Jewry, I presume you're talking about the 15 million.
Now, I want you to realize the moment that Nick Fuentes realizes that Piers Morgan doesn't know that this is the term that they use for themselves.
World Jewry. I mean, it's one thing to criticize, for example, the Israeli government over what it's been doing in Gaza. I've done that myself.
There it is.
When you talk about world Jewry, I presume you're talking about the 15 million
There it is.
Jews in the world, and you are opposed.
You can't wait.
How does that square with your position that you don't hate any Jews?
Well, do you take issue with my use of the term world Jewry?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Or do you take issue with it? Do you have a problem with that?
Clarify what you mean by it.
Wait, so hold on. Do you have a problem with it or not? We all know that Piers doesn't know what it means. We all know that. He doesn't know who says it. He has no idea what he's talking about. Just the reflexive need to be offended. This is like, this is Ace Ventura right now. I thought you'd never ask.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. The gaslighting's crazy because I use that expression on my show all the time. I say organized Jewry, world Jewry. And do you know that for like 30 years, the World Jewish Congress has an annual keynote called the State of World Jewry? Barry Weiss has given it. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. She gives the State of World Jewry address.
But Nick, what do you mean by it?
But what do you mean by it? Here's not only them, but moves in high positions of power and authority congregating around moves from around the world called the World Jewish Congress. Use it. Yeah, but what do you mean by it? That's all you got, Piers?
I mean, you have to talk about, there's a concept of Jewish peoplehood. It's the sense that they are part of a common nationality, a common tribe, a common people. And so where they reside in Israel, the United States, or Europe, or elsewhere, they see each other above or maybe on a different level alongside their nationality, their state, wherever they reside. If they're in Germany, France, the United States, they see themselves as part of a transnational nation, of an international nation. The Jews in America, the Jews in Israel, they identify as Israeli or American.
Just to supplement what Nick Fuentes is saying, I had just shown you that the World Jewish Congress, a key person in that organization, is a Rothschild in the French branch of the Rothschild family. Okay? How much proof do you need?
American, but they also have something
in common. They identify as part of a common nation,
Yes.
which I would say there's a world Jewish population. It's world Jewry. And world Jewry has representatives. There is such a thing as the World Jewish Congress, where they actually elect, it's democratic, all the local Jewish organizations elect representatives to represent proportionally the Jewish population in their area at the World Jewish Congress. And it's sort of like Davos. It's like the World Economic Forum, but it's exclusively for members.
So, I mean, this is just an objectively great analogy. But, like, this should work with a liberal that's an anti-communist. Have you noticed how crazy all the anti-communists are and how they're still pretty much left? But, so it's, okay, so anti-communist, Davos, right? The World Economic Forum, communism, bad, right? It's like that, but it's the moose. Now, this won't compel anybody because, how do you make people break through to see that? Like, when I was making anti-communist videos, I had to intentionally not talk about the moose for months, and I ripped the Band-Aid off, and I haven't stopped gushing ever since.
Of the Jewish nation that exists across the world. And so that's a real thing. And I didn't make that up, and that didn't come from 4chan. It's like I said in that clip. I read what they write. I read their books. I watch these speeches. I watch a speech from
what
Barry
they say.
Weiss. I pay very close attention. So that's what I mean by that. There is such a thing as it's a nation that exists across borders on a global scale. They're organized, and they have a national self-interest as that nation, as that tribe.
So if you don't hate any Jews, what do you like about them?
Wait, so Nick just completely... Nick just explains, I can back everything up. This is what they do, and I'm using the words that they use to describe themselves. So, do you like any of them? Oh, fucking guy's running on empty. Jesus Christ. But Nick rolls with all the punches. He says what he has to say because he's not talking to Piers, he's talking to the audience. Great move.
I like a lot of things about them. I think they're funny. I think they're smart. I think that they're pretty remarkable people. And as Christians, especially as Catholics, we say they're remarkable. And this has been adjudicated in Catholic doctrine for thousands of years. We say that they're a witness people. And so we actually, there's provisions inside of Catholic doctrine that says we need to give them special protections because they were a witness to Christ's passion. So, this is why you can't clip the show. You have to watch the whole thing. I say this repeatedly in interviews. I do think they're remarkable. By definition, they're exceptional people. It's just that there is a sort of natural opposition between them and Christians because of the theology. We believe that Christ.
And now when he says natural, I mean, there is a genetic component to that undeniably. They view themselves as an ethnicity, as a people, and it's thousands of years of history. So how much time goes by where it becomes natural? It's natural in every sense of the word.
Is a Messiah. They don't. They have been a minority in Christian lands for thousands of years, and they have been pushed around and expelled, and they've been persecuted and segregated. And that's why there's a lot of paranoia. There's a lot of distrust. There's maybe some sense of chauvinism among Jewish people.
Yeah.
So there is, like I said in that clip, there is an historical antagonism between these two peoples,
Dude, Mark Levin was like bragging about how they canceled all these people before. When they canceled Pat Buchanan by holding up signs and calling him racist like the left.
Christendom and Jewry, and that has always been the case in Europe. But I don't hate them, and I think I actually sort of understand them in a weird way. I think that because I've studied a lot of their politics, I think I really kind of know them in a way, and it doesn't come from a place of hatred.
Do you have any Jewish friends?
I do.
Why does it matter?
Yes.
Well, that's
Piers, are you lonely? Are you trying to make some friends? You keep asking if he has black friends, if he has Jewish friends, but here's the gotcha. Okay, Piers, it hasn't been working for an hour, but this time, the same thing that you've been trying over and over again, fellas, get ready. It's going to work this time.
weird because you said this.
Jews and Christians have never been friends, ever. Not since Jesus Christ fought with the Pharisees. Have we ever been friends? Not since Saul was leading the charge persecuting the Christians. Not since the Roman Empire, not since the Middle Ages. Never. We've never been friends. We've never been allies. We've always been set against each other, actually. And even here in the United States, it was communist Jews who were the architects of both communism and the civil rights laws that are dispossessing white Christians of their land and civilization.
The Jews and Christians have never been friends ever.
Piers, did you miss when he talked about the communist Jews and the Civil Rights Act? Oh, God, why didn't you just play that for everybody? And this is just peak bad faith, where out of everything Nick Fuentes said, Piers, of course, is going to attack the weakest part of what Nick Fuentes said. Not the strongest part. Never change, libs and left. Never change.
Except for you and your Jewish friends.
Yeah, so easy. As peoples, as nations.
Got it.
Not saying every individual Christian, and of course there have been Christians and there have been Christian converts to Judaism, Jewish converts to Christian. You're nodding your head, but you're asking this. I'm saying as peoples, they've
No,
never
I hear
been
you.
aligned.
As a
There's been
Roman, I'm a
antagonism.
Catholic
Okay.
like you, and I have many Jewish friends. I'm just trying to compute
Oh, he's a
what
Catholic.
you're trying to say,
Okay.
which is Jews and Christians have never been friends ever. And I'm like, well, you have Jewish friends. I have Jewish friends. We're both Catholics. Therefore, we're Christians.
Dude.
Well, it doesn't really quite add up.
Well, like I said, as peoples, there
Piers, if you keep trying to be retarded, you're gonna stay that way.
has been an historical antagonism as peoples. And you could even say the same about blacks in the United States. Of course, there were black and white people that were friendly with each other, but in many ways, they were set against each other as groups. And I think that's easy enough to understand.
The reason
Easy
that many
enough
people
to
think you're anti-Semitic is that you have regularly downplayed the Holocaust, and in particular, the number of
Oh boy. Oh goy. Okay. Here it comes. Now, what I want you to realize, again, no matter how you feel about Nick Fuentes, this denial is illegal in 19 countries, okay? The reason why I harp on this topic is a matter of principle. I, as a liberal, very much believe in free speech. Once we can't deny this, we've lost the West. That's it. Once this is taken away from us in the United States, that's it. Europe is counting on us to deny and doubt this motherfucker as much as humanly possible. Do you want to know? Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why you should deny this? Let me answer that with a question. If you have a fucking right, do you have to explain yourself to another fucking person? If it's a fucking right, no, you don't. That's fucking why.
of Jewish people who were murdered by the Nazis. It's been said that you believe no more than several 100,000 have been killed. And I'm going to play you this clip.
People talk about, well, what about the gas chambers? Well, to the extent that that's real, I find that hard to believe, but to the extent that's real, there have been atrocities committed and genocides committed in all times and all places. Let's acknowledge why Hitler casts the long shadow. Because that confers a political benefit upon Jews. That's why.
It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
You think that's funny?
It's funny. It's amusing what you're doing.
Piers, do you think this time he's gonna say no? Dude, yes! Yeah! Vegas odds are looking good that, yeah, he's gonna probably defend saying that. Oh my god, get a new strat.
Because that one was a joke. But do you want to talk seriously about the Holocaust?
Yeah, I do actually. I do, because I just find it extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon?
Let's let that linger like a perfect fart, okay? Let me give that to you again. Let's really let that linger and just look at Piers, okay?
I think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon? Is it too soon to make jokes?
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7 million. What's the number?
Okay. Piers Morgan has his head so far up his own ass in his own feelings and needs to be offended. This is what the left does. He just, in his mind, he thinks he's going to get a 271 number, right? He thinks he's going to get a low number, okay? He doesn't realize how long this has been going on for. Now, the right move is to go, dude, it's so many. It's way more It's way more than 6 million, dude. It's way more. I mean, there's new people coming out every day that we're finding that survived, all right? They're an ageless people. It's way more than that. And Piers goes, haha, I got him to admit that it's 6 million. Now, he said 7, he said 8, and he also eventually says 100 times that, Piers, you fucking idiot.
7, 6 million, something like that.
So you
8 million?
You concede that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust.
At least!
Possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time. So it could maybe even be more than that.
So why have you doubted the numbers in the past?
I'll tell you why. I really think that every death is a tragedy, however many Jewish people died in the Holocaust. And I'm not a World War II historian, so I'm actually open to believing the official narrative, and I've read some of the conspiracy theories. And to tell you the truth, it's a rigorous debate. But you know what's interesting about this is in many countries, it's not even legal to talk about it. And that's really where my interest in the Holocaust begins and sort of ends, to tell you the truth, is that if you wanted to question the number, you would be put in jail in about, 17 or 18 European countries. And I think that's really the more interesting conversation, which is that this is almost like a religious dogma in the West. No other genocide, no other atrocity is treated like this. Could you imagine if in the United States...
Now, this is the fulcrum of the point where this is treated as unique. And this is where the double standards come into play that make people very frustrated, resentful, generate a lot of disdain, okay? Now, there's Holocaust museums, there's hundreds, okay? I don't feel like pulling up these numbers right now, okay? I've shown it on stream, in the United States, there's 9,000 Muish NGOs, okay? 9,000 that are filed as being Muish, okay? There's an NGO specifically for this small demographic of people for every 583 of them in the United States, okay? It's the amount of funding, it's the in-group, out-group preference, it's what they're allowed to do, and how they specifically target white people to make sure we can't do it. That is the issue. This could all end amicably and peacefully if you would just like to engage in that criticism, but they never do, so the war continues.
They said the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza is 100,000, and if you don't say that, you're going to jail, you're banned on X, you can't have a job. That's the part that's totally insane. And a lot of people, they can't even make up their minds. I think it's actually done a disservice. If your goal, and I'm not saying you as Piers Morgan, but if you're an advocate for awareness about this, if your goal is to convince everybody that this is the way the Holocaust happened, I think the last thing you'd want to do is say that everyone that disagrees is in jail and is banned and you're not allowed to say it. So there's really been no open debate about the subject since the scholarship started to be produced about 60 years ago.
But there is no debate to be had about the number of people who were murdered. Even the Nazis in the trials after the war confirmed the numbers. The amount of documentation that was recovered, notwithstanding the attempts by the Nazis to destroy it, the amount of documentation that was saved and preserved and used for trials and for historical record is unprecedented in the history of mass slaughter of human beings. So we have a very clear idea of how many people were gassed to death in the gas chambers. We have a very clear idea of how many were starved to death, were kept in ghettos, died of disease, of forced labor, of death marches.
I get it, yeah.
How many Jews were slaughtered? It's at least 6 million. What's interesting to me...
So, Piers is just going to keep going right now, and I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait until he's done, okay? He's going to keep going. It's this big old lecture, okay? And next, like, yeah. Oh, interesting. I never heard any of these things before. Interesting. Really fascinating.
I said it could even be higher than that.
Well, it could be
higher.
higher.
So I think you're right. It is at least. Oh, it's at least 6 million. But it could be 100 times more than that. Let me respond to the rest of your question.
Sure.
What you're saying, I understand where you're coming from when you say it has been documented and there are confessions and so on. Let that speak for itself. But you don't see, your show is called Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Yep.
But the United Kingdom is censored and Europe is censored. And if you talk about these things, you will be put in jail in many countries.
How often is that said on such a large platform? Does anyone think it's weird, possibly authoritarian, that these liberal democracies... Oh, I'm sorry, and these liberal democracies, was it put under a vote to make it so none of them can challenge it? Was that put to a vote? Or was it done under the rule of a king that's not visible to the country? A king that doesn't live in the country, let's say.
And I think that's where a lot of people start to say, well, if the truth is so clear and if there's such overwhelming evidence, why do you need to throw people in jail for disagreeing? And you yourself said, well, there is no debate. I think everything is debatable. I think everything at least should be debated. And if the evidence is very...
So we really need to make this point crystal clear in general, where you can say things about Trump, you can say things about the people that rule your country, and not the Holocaust, right? Let's do basic critical thinking, right? Is that peculiar to anybody? I feel like that's the most compelling argument you can make, where you can say things about your country before you can say things about an event from 80 years ago. To me, hard to get around that. If I talk to Sitch, bet your bottom dollar I'm fucking saying that one.
Very one-sided. Let the evidence speak. Don't throw people in jail. So do you think that Holocaust denial laws should be overturned?
I don't particularly agree with Holocaust denial laws. I don't think people should be imprisoned.
Okay.
Well, because I have a blanket view now, which has evolved
'Cause I'm a
slightly
shitlib.
over the years, that I have a blanket view that speech should not be criminalized, right? People should be allowed to say what they want to say, and they should be then made accountable for what they say. If you have an employer, they can make a view about whether you are the right kind of person they want for their employment, as they would make a decision about anything else you do in life. So I actually believe that speech should never be criminalized. It's my personal view. I understand why in places like Germany, they have strong laws about it because they want to move on from what they believe was the most shameful moment in their history. I understand that. Do I want that in my country? No. Am I appalled by...
So this is what James Lindsay does. It's what Constant Kissin does. I don't agree with that. Good for you. You have no power. You're not trying to really challenge the real power that's in charge. Well, I don't agree with it. I don't think we should have these laws. Yeah, good for you, dude. You want a fucking cookie?
By what has been going on with free speech in the United Kingdom in the last 2 or 3 years? Absolutely. It is ridiculous that people have been frog marched to prison cells for stuff they put on social media, right? So yeah, I do. I think what is more interesting to me about our exchange is I was not expecting you to go the opposite way. I was not expecting you to be so emphatic that at least 6 million...
I love it. He's talking about... This is how he's a cuck, okay? You think it's difficult for him to have this position when he watches his wife fuck other men that are 30 years younger than him? You think this is really difficult for him? He's talking about people in his own country are being locked up for speech while they're getting a little snuggly with your fucking kids. And he's like, but I want to redirect this conversation to the words of Nick Fuentes. You're a fucking patriot, Piers.
Million Jews died in the Holocaust. And there'll be people watching this who I think will be very surprised by that, because you have built a reputation for being, if not a Holocaust denier, then somebody constantly questioning in a downward way the number of Jews who were murdered. That doesn't appear to be what your position is now.
No, and here's what I would like to see for my entire career. When I started my show, it started with a good faith inquiry where I was questioning a lot of these narratives, and I said, what is the answer on the other side? But what I found is that the answer...
Fellas in chat, were any of us born this way? The way we think and feel now, were we born this way? Or did we give liberalism a chance? Or did we give... And when we say give the left a chance, it's not them, but being on the left, understanding the left, trying to be friendly with the left, instilling those values in ourselves. It's not like we didn't try that. We've all tried it. We don't want what you're fucking selling. Sorry, you lost fair and square. A rat named Mouse, $5. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. It isn't up for debate. As a Christian, Jesus being the Messiah ain't... Oh, wow. Jesus being the Messiah ain't up for debate either. I'm not going to lock you up if you disagree, though. I have publicly stated this. I am an atheist, but I do support blasphemy laws for Christianity. The most compelling case that I heard was from Joel Webbin when he was on Timcast. And it's just a matter of fact that we're going to have blasphemy laws anyway. Like, we can't talk about the J.E. double schnazi sticks. That literally is a blasphemy law. The Holocaust, it's a blasphemy law. So, if we're going to have blasphemy laws and there's no possible reality where we don't, I understand as a liberal, I owe everything to Christianity, built the West, okay? I just have difficulty believing in a metaphysical being. That's it, dude. I support a lot of fucking all the stuff, okay? My personal, it's just difficult to believe, okay? My brain has been fucking warped for generations. I'm just realizing I've been lied to my entire life this fucking year, dude, okay? Fucking just, it's a lot, okay? It's hard for me to pick a team right now. I'm a free agent, okay? But I just think that it's reasonable position that it's not if there's going to be blasphemy laws. It's what are the blasphemy laws going to be? And with that epistemology, Christian blasphemy laws, and I am a free speech extremist, okay? But I think you understand my argument.
Was criminalized. So when you would talk about anything regarding Jews, Israel, the Holocaust, you could be in favor of the official narrative on those things. If you went against, you were banned, censored, and in some countries jailed. And so I actually haven't made up my mind on that because that's not really a matter of interest to me. And there's a lot of analysis and scholarship on both sides of the issue. And I've read both sides of the issue. And honestly, unfortunately, it's hard to judge because there's never been a debate with my sister.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Hold on. So Piers just then was asking for where the Hitler is cool.
Rules about it because they want to move on from.
Shit, I'm sorry about that. But Hitler. But Piers was just saying, where's the Hitler is cool stuff as Nick is talking?
What they believe was the most shameful moment in their history. I understand that. Do I want that in my country? No. Am I pleased to go? No, people.
I was criminalized. So where do they have this in scholarship? On both sides, stigma because of the censorship. And I think that leads a lot of people to say, well, what do they have to hide? Because you can say on your show, well, I'm personally against Holocaust denial laws, yet they still persist.
Right.
And the social consequences still persist. And I think that that is the anomaly. And people have to wonder, okay, why is it that way? And what I said in that clip is the reason the Holocaust casts a long shadow is because it confers a political benefit upon organized Jewry. That is what they always fall back on. They cannot be criticized. They cannot be named,
by their own admission.
About lest there be another Holocaust. And no other tragedy is treated that way, and no other ethnic group has a get out of jail free card.
Now, if you're on the right wing, this is an observable fact. It's not even an opinion. Let's hear the response if you're not in the right wing.
Just play that. Anti-Semitism and Holocaust. You can do whatever you want and defend all your actions. That's the part that people are getting upset with. That's the problem.
I don't know any right-minded person who believes that Jewish people weaponized the Holocaust for their own personal get out of jail free or whatever you call it.
You don't know anyone that does that? That believes that?
I'm sure there are some people that do that, but it's such a ridiculous generalization.
I mean, honestly, if I was in a debate about this, it'd be really difficult. It'd be really difficult to try and seem calm.
You know, the truth is that most Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Okay, fellas. I need to let you know something. I have been streaming and making videos every day. This isn't going to be a very long stream tonight. There's probably at least a half an hour left, okay? We're going to dial it down with this. I feel as though I've been very fortunate where nothing has happened with copyright in the stream. I want to test my luck. Probably another half an hour.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know.
It's the greatest hits! It's the greatest hits!
Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really...
Now, you should realize that, as you can see up here, this is from Cozy.tv. He had to create his own fucking platform in his early 20s, okay? Don't take that away from him.
Fucking cool.
Do you regret saying that?
What do you think?
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
One of them.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not.
And I'm tired of pretending he's not. I have 1 minute to find this before I have to move on. And I'm tired of pretending he's not. Let me see if I can find it. I found it today.
Well, let me get this straight. You think that killing those guys is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
The fucking kid's invincible, dude. Like, that's fucking incredible, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? You thought I wouldn't catch that? What do you think? I'm neurotypical?
Well,
To be honest.
this is the problem, you see. It's a bit like when you just say, I'm a racist. You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic. If you're a Jewish person watching this, what are they thinking? I'll tell you what they're thinking, because I've got a friend of mine called Danny Finkelstein, who...
Oh, you have a friend named Danny Finkelstein. Oh, okay. Okay, you know what? I like how Piers is switching up his strategy right now. Let me wheel out an old moo, and see how that goes.
When he heard I was interviewing you, he's a Times journalist in the UK, very eminent journalist here, and author, who wrote a book about his own family's experiences at the hands of Hitler and Stalin, because you also told Tucker Carlson that you admire Stalin. But let's just take what Danny said here.
Hi Piers, it's Stanley Finkelstein here. As you're interviewing Nick Fuentes, you might try suggesting to him that
absolutely
he reads my book, Hitler, Stalin, Mum and Dad. It's called
No One
Two Roads Home in the United States.
That's ever lived
on Team Hitler.
cares.
Asked him about the fact that Hitler arrested my
No
mum,
one
tried to
cares.
starve my mum to death, did starve my grandmother.
Yeah,
to death,
probably,
sent my great
man.
aunt to the gas chamber, my great uncle,
Totally.
my cousin. My grandmother on my father's side ended up being one out of 7 children, the only one that survived the war. So you might ask him whether he wouldn't rather be on Team Mum rather than Team Hitler.
Team Mum!
Stalin's birthday,
Team
well,
Mum!
Stalin took my father, sent him to a state collective farm, sent my grandmother
Nick Fuentes'
to a state
face,
collective farm, sent my
dude!
grandfather to the Gulag. You might try asking him why he doesn't celebrate Dad's birthday rather than Stalin's. It may well be a big joke to him, but he complains that he was 18 when someone tried to
this is
cancel him.
embarrassing.
Well, Stalin and Hitler arrested my mum and my dad
In
when they
front
were
of
10
everybody.
years old. So perhaps he might like to reconsider his joke.
See, that's the reality of your jokes. Although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you?
Now, I know this has been out for a really long time at this point, okay? And in that time, I haven't really seen anyone focus on the faces Nick Fuentes is making. Somebody probably has because this has been out for so long. So let's really, really focus on how fucking done we all are with what just fucking happened, dude.
You joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal monster of the last 150 years?
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching. You know,
Yeah, you might be, but then your generation hasn't gone through what Danny Finkelstein's family went through. So maybe the person
that that is how there's when they go we go okay.
Pearl clutching has a way to go for families whose family members
oh my
were
gosh,
murdered.
yeah, we got all that. You know, me mom, like we're, you know, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler, and
he
me
doesn't
dad
find
got
it
killed
funny
by...
when you say Hitler's very fucking.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't care. I don't
That's
care.
fine. You don't have to care, but he does care.
Does that guy care?
Here, fellas, all at once, I want to hear it across the world. We're gonna do the I don't care at the same time.
Families whose family members
Oh my
were
gosh,
murdered.
yeah, we got all that. We, you know, me mom, like we're, you know.
Here we go. You guys ready?
Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed.
You guys
by
ready to
Hitler,
not
and
care?
dad
I find
got
it
killed
funny
by...
when you say Hitler's very fucking.
I
don't care. I don't care.
That's fine. You don't have to care, but he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He cares what you,
That's the
a
problem.
conservative, in a.
Now, does he care about me and my country? We know what the answer is. All just great. He played this so well. He really played this like a gentleman. And the way he just, I don't care. You can't make me care because that's what they want. That the struggle session is trying to force an emotion into you, not a thought. They try to pollute your brain with the thoughts to then control your emotions. And they hate it when you don't care. See, in Boston, it's not that we don't care. We don't fucking care. Kid, I don't fucking care.
America has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million
childish.
people. He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking
Okay.
cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II, and it's fascinating and it's interesting and it's compelling and it's cool. And, you know, we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions. And then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom. And it's like, shut up. Like,
Can you do that in other countries? Fellas in chat. Now, it's not denying it, but can you tell a person like that to fucking shut up? Can you do it? Because the laws, what is the law of denialism? I know that they love to treat it like it's a science, right? What is the law of denialism? Can you not care? Okay, I don't deny it, but I don't give a shit. Like, they're not laws. They're oppressive measures to silence you.
Like, you know, no one is in favor of genocide. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half your family
years ago,
you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool?
The face.
Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people, who targeted people because they were disabled or Jewish or Romani Gypsy or whatever it may be, and that he systematically destroyed people, incinerated them in gas chambers? Do you think you would find it very fucking cool if your family had been through that? Or do you think you would find it very fucking disgusting? And perhaps moderate the number of times you laugh about it or want to joke about it.
So at this point, Piers is just lecturing Nick, and as you can see, he's just fucking taking it. Yeah, I'll wait till you're done. It's a rope-a-dope. You know, I'll wait until you tire yourself out. Yeah. Hey, did you guys know Mustache Man was bad? Okay. Did you know he liked them a little extra crispy? Huh? Did you guys know that? Bet you learned something right now, right? I bet you didn't know that about him. We're learning so much right now. Look at how elated Nick Fuentes is. He's waiting. He can't wait. Fellas, what's he going to say? How's he going to respond to this lecture that we've all heard literally ever since we were born and for generations before that about this event? What's he going to say?
Motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool.
it's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer. And we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. This. And I'm sitting here saying, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
do we see how important he's not? So that could be considered downplaying it. You see the difficulty with these laws and how oppressive they are. You have to care. How is this not North Korea where you have to cry for the fucking dictator of the country? You need to force the emotion. You have to care. And this is history, fellas. And I'm feeling really lucky with how much of this I've shown. So I'm gonna have to dial it down in a little bit.
And
not that
what
serious.
I'm getting at,
not that serious.
Do you want to say more about
well,
he's a monster?
Yeah, tell me how bad he is.
You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right? You're nearly 30, to be clear.
I know.
You're a fully formed adult
right,
who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these rabbit
Is this an
warrens.
interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want you to explain why you think it's fine.
He has explained to you how he thinks it's fine in a myriad of ways. This is, without question, a struggle session. Yeah, but don't you think it's kind of terrible? No, not really. But have you considered how bad it is? It's a struggle session.
To say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss the very powerful 90 seconds from a British journalist who lost a lot of family members to the Nazis in such a callous, dismissive manner.
I don't think it's powerful. I think we've been hearing that our entire lives. Okay.
He just takes the fucking wind out of his sails. Oh, I've been in my zone. Give me a little moment. John X. Osterman, $2. Thank you very much. Boomer Piers and his bag of gotchas. Lol. Yeah. Yeah. His gotchas. Modern Magus 13, $2. Thank you very much. Didn't see color till color showed it. Always saw me. A story as old as time. It's not who you are, it's what you became. Mexican Man and Cheese, $2. Thank you very much. Finkelstein guilt-tripped and plugged his book. Yeah. Yeah, he did. Which Finkelstein, by the way? There's so many Finkelsteins that write books about this stuff. Not all on the same page, by the way, too.
Okay, the Schindler's List. Let's just be honest. The propaganda is over the top. We have been brought in America.
What about
and
the Schindler's
everywhere.
List?
Hey,
Tell me
hang on,
about
can
the
I
Schindler's
respond?
List. Well, tell me about the Schindler's List.
I'll tell you about it. We
Can I
have been
finish?
browbeaten
Please, can I
as a
finish?
people, as Americans, as Westerners, for our entire lives.
Yep.
And do you know what this has done? It has taken away any sense of pride, any sense of love for our own civilization. We have been made the villain in our own story. We have been made because, let's just be clear, it doesn't begin and end with Hitler is a monster. This has been the political narrative, which is why we have thrown open the borders. This is a political.
Yeah, he invokes the Hart-Celler Act, and this never happens again, and he's going to explain where that came from. Like, this is a matter of history, what he's saying. This is not an opinion.
Narrative, which is why we can't be a conservative society as a whole anymore, why we can't be proud of Europeans, why we can't be proud of being Christian, because they've told us if you're too white and too proud and too Christian, it's going to lead to a Holocaust.
Yep.
And so my generation, our entire lives.
Shit,
Wait.
Oh, I'm sure it is, Piers.
Honestly, Nick
it's true,
Fuentes,
and that's why people like me. That's why I'm popular, because this is bullshit.
Shit. Honestly,
yeah, it's a crock. You don't want to hear anymore.
Indignance. All he has is being indignant.
About me mom and me dad. That's a crock of shit.
No, listen. What you just said is a crock of shit. And you
it's
know
true.
it.
It's called the open society.
In your gut, you know it is. You weaponize this stuff.
You know.
You weaponize this stuff for money, but you know when you say something like what you just said.
I'm banned from banking. I'm banned from banking and credit cards.
That's where Piers really crossed the line that he does this for money when he's been the most canceled person in terms of the modern definition of canceled. The most canceled person in modern American history.
You know who you're talking to?
Yeah,
I do it for money.
and by the
How
way-
much money you
and by
make?
the
Your
way,
company's
that
worth $100 million. Your company's worth $100 million. I was banned from Bank of America.
And you shouldn't
I'm
have
banned
been.
from processing credit cards.
And you shouldn't have been.
But I am. So don't tell me I'm doing it for money.
Well, ask me my opinion about that. I'll tell you shouldn't have been. Right? I don't agree with that. What
There it is. I don't agree. Good for fucking you, dude.
happened to
Then
you?
don't say I'm doing it for money, because you know that full well, and you say it's a
How much
grift.
money- how much
if I
money
wanted
are
to be
you-
a grifter, I'd be like you.
How
And I
much
would
money
go
are-
and say,
How much money are you making?
I'm making a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm the #1 live streamer in America, because people agree with me more than they agree with.
Yeah, you know what? It really is incredible how much money you can make when the odds have been stacked so against you and you had to make your own platform and you never stopped no matter what they did, and the shit that you were saying 9 years ago is true today. Yeah, can you believe he's making money? It's fucking what a fucking coincidence.
With you, we're tired of hearing about slavery and the Holocaust and Jim Crow. We're done hearing about that.
Yeah.
You guys
I'm not
overplayed your
done hearing
hand.
about
Get
it.
his ass.
Okay, well, your generation's on the way out, and Generation Z is
Get
coming
his
up, and
ass.
We're finished with that. We're ready to take our kids.
Attack!
I've got three
We're not
sons.
listening to
I've got
crying
three
minorities
sons.
anymore.
I've got 3 sons, and they don't share your views about
Yeah, but their dad's a pussy, so that sucks.
slavery and about the Holocaust. They can have decency and compassion and humanity about some of the worst things that have happened in the last 150 years or more.
Sound like girls.
They can do that, and they can also have concerned views about issues like immigration and other issues. The two things are not mutually incompatible. You can have different views about different things. It's your lack of humanity and compassion for people about things like the Holocaust, about slavery. It's that people find so contemptible. And I don't understand why you need to do that. Again, I just ask you, is your motivation financial? Is your motivation for fun? What is the motivation for saying these outlandish things, which you don't need to say, and which I suspect, I don't know, I suspect a lot of it is performative. So what is the motivation?
It sounds like Nick Fuentes didn't clean his room, and Piers has to go, so why didn't you clean your room, huh? Were you playing video games too much? Huh? I know you weren't doing your homework. It's just like, it's not gonna work, dude.
I'm an iconoclast. The Holocaust is not my religion, and it is treated like a religion. It is
Yes.
treated like a religion with dogma, with blasphemy laws.
Get it!
And that secular religion says, and you say that's a crock of shit. It's intentional. It's called The Open Society by Karl Popper. It's by these architects of the liberal order after World War II. They got together and they said, how can we make sure that Hitler never happens? How can we make sure that totalitarianism never happens again? And they came up with a consensus, which is that we need to take down.
Now, notice how he's telling you exactly where he's getting this from. He knows. Think of how much of a fucking professional Nick Fuentes is. He knows where these ideas come from. He's telling you where they come from so you can look it up yourself. As he said, he's not making it up. He can back up everything he's saying. He's got receipts for everything. To over 100,000 live and now 3 million people in a day. Bitch.
nations, religions, fathers, the authoritarian personality. We need to be empathetic and altruistic. We need to be diverse and pluralistic. And that experiment isn't working. And I'll tell you the truth right now, and you can laugh at this, you can scoff at this. Our people are being genocided in our country. 50% of the live births in the United Kingdom and in the United States are non-white. In 100 years, my ancestors, your kids who are so empathetic and compassionate, they're going to be a minority. They're going to be a minority in maybe a Muslim country, an Indian country, an Hispanic country, and these Jewish people that are 100.
Yeah, so even when I was on the left and being told to, like, be afraid of the right, I never got an answer to this question. I go, what demographic in human history was celebrating that they're going to be a minority in their own country? Never got an answer to that. So, like, no matter how you feel about the situation, like, nobody wants that for themselves. So, is it that difficult to understand?
100 years old talking about my grandparents and the Holocaust. They don't care about that. Actually, they like to see it. At the SPLC, they're literally counting down the days until whites are a minority in America. So forgive me if I don't believe them when they talk about compassion. There's a genocide going on right now.
Nice.
It's not against the
How many
Jews.
Christians are there?
In Gaza, it's against
How many
whites.
Christians are there in the world? Like me and
1
you.
point some billion,
Yeah,
2 billion.
How many Jews are there?
15 million.
Okay. So with a straight face, you're going to tell me the world is being overrun by the Jewry, by 15 million people, when there are over 1 billion Christians. There is a genocide of Christians like poor old Nick Fuentes going on at the hands of these 15 million Jews. Really?
Now, that is purely meant to antagonize you, okay? Purely meant to antagonize you. Now, I know it's frustrating, okay? It's a tactic. That's meant to make you mad. It's meant to throw you off your game. Now, instead of being mad, okay, when they say that, try that instead, okay? The only thing you have control over is how you feel and how you react. Nick Fuentes looks like he agrees. Unaffected. Do not give in to the temptation of antagonization because that's what they want. I'm an atheist, okay? I don't believe in anything. I'm just used to it. It's been my entire life. I'm having to undo a lot of things. All I know, my epistemology, the last thing I'm going to fucking do is what these motherfuckers want me to do. That's my motivation.
See, this attitude is why you're losing. When you
Right.
say
Who am I
poor
losing
old
to?
white people,
Who
these
am I
poor
losing
old
to?
white people.
Who am I losing to?
You're seeing it, mass migration. Oh, you're losing to me. We are losing as a civilization of mass migration. And here's the difference. In Israel, they have my politics. In Israel,
Yep.
they want to maintain a Jewish majority. If they had it their way, it would only be Jewish people. They're fighting like hell so that Jewish people can have as much territory, a Jewish state. They can be proudly Jewish in their own land. Whereas in America, we are being besieged by 10 million illegal immigrants in 4 years. And then
Absolutely. Fellas, I have to wind this down. You don't realize how much you people have been working me to the bone in the past 5 days, okay? I haven't seen the Daily Wire ad, so let me go to the Daily Wire ad, and then we'll do a short cool down with a little Adam and Setch. Oh boy, fellas.
Torn apart by warring factions and standing on of the King Arthur part of the thing. I have some good news for you. If you'll come back with a little kind of summary of how you think this interview has gone for you.
Okay.
If you're a fan of epic fantasy, Arthurian legend, or just epic storytelling, I have some good news for you. The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, is the Daily Wire's new 7-part cinematic series, and it's so good, it will shock you. It's a top-quality reimagining of the King Arthur legend, which follows a young Merlin in a Britain torn apart. Plus,
Bro,
access
a fucking Daily Wire ad. They are fucking desperate, dude. They are absolutely desperate. I guess we can go here.
Oh,
never.
So I think that's just silly. I think that's just semantic.
Have you ever been in love in your life?
No, like romantically, no.
Yeah, never.
He said no.
Do you think that's part of the problem?
What's the problem?
Why you are the way you are.
Oh,
Listen, fellas, okay? I've been in love a couple of times in my life. To your surprise, all women. I've lived with these women, okay? I'm gonna tell you, the Yelp review score didn't increase! I don't think that makes you like him more. In my humble opinion, this is the most Nick Fuentes will ever like women. And look at his face.
And what's the way I am? What are you trying to say?
I've given people 2 hours of the way you are. You're unashamed about a lot of it.
I don't think I have a problem. I think I'm cheerful, boisterous. Look, unlike you, I'm willing to be a little well, I guess you're willing to be provocative, but I'm willing to be very provocative, and I'm a free thinker. And I don't like to be tone policed. I don't like to be told about, people are going to tone police and play moral cop about you can't make this joke or you can't make this statement. And I think that's just about being intellectually open. I'm a believer in openness. And I like ideas.
I completely agree. I think you should be perfectly free to express yourself
There it is.
exactly how you see fit.
I think
My
you're allowed
problem
to,
is
but
how you see fit with some of the things that you say. And we've been through a lot of them. And I think people who don't know you very well will have been shocked in parts and surprised in other parts. But in totality, they can see you for what you are. I think we've got a lot nearer to what the real Nick Fuentes is in the last 2 hours than we probably have seen from your other recent interviews. Would you agree?
No, I mean, the clip thing, we've done the clip thing. We've all seen the clip show. Everyone's seen the clips. You think you're the first one to do the ADL rap sheet. So here you said this, and then here you said that. I've been playing that game for 10 years, so this is honestly more of the same, to tell you the truth.
Nick Fuentes, I appreciate you coming on.
oh my God, fellas, I have to go. I am burning the candles at both ends, fellas. Oh my dear Lord. But I am gonna have to chew this ass tomorrow. Let's see. I've only listened to some of this. I know I'm gonna have to chew some ass because it made me mad. And I don't have anger issues anymore because I have a YouTube channel. So let me just hear a little bit of this and see if it gets me mad at all.
Ever in my entire life. This is like the whole thing with like
So
academic
is
agent.
what he's saying true? Did Barry Weiss give a speech?
There is this organization that's called like the World Jewish Congress or whatever that I never even heard of before this, that has some speech where they talk about like, or they use the term world Jewry or something. Yes,
right, yeah.
true.
The state of world Jewry.
Yes.
Okay.
But you understand that just because one organization does this,
I have to leave. Just because one organization does this, and this is when Sitch called the argument dumb because he's never fucking heard of it. And so since he's just fucking heard of it for the first time, it's I think my heart's failing me. Smelling toast right now. Just because this is the first time he's fucking heard about it, that means it's only one, right, Sitch? I don't know if I'm going to make it through.
that has nothing to do with the concept that he's talking about.
No,
in terms of
obviously.
saying-
Look, there is a
Okay, well,
conspiracy.
that's what I'm. Okay,
There's
so
a
that's my point.
conspiracy that Jews run the world, okay? And a lot of people who believe that.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy. They only made the 80 year ago Naughty event illegal to deny. It's illegal to deny it in 19 countries, which supersedes the values of each country, by the way, because you can criticize those countries, let alone the amount of NGOs in each country, let alone the amount of museums in each country. I'm getting mad, and I have to go to sleep. Fellas, you're keeping me up well past my bedtime every night. So, hey, in the chat, are we excited for this tomorrow? This one right here? Where it's going to be a lot easier to just hear what they're saying. Since they've already played this, I don't have to worry about copyright and whatnot. To attack these, I'll be able to pull some stuff on stream, you know? Be more of a chill stream. I was really guns blazing tonight. But this will be more like maybe looking things up in real time, possibly. I don't know. But this has to be addressed, okay? This is ridiculous. This is why people are not listening to them. Like these. Okay. Now, this is a fair point. 9:37 is your bedtime. If you think I can just shut down this stream and then go to sleep after, you're out of your fucking mind. It takes me at least 3 hours to go to sleep after a stream. I don't understand, like, I've been just talking and yelling for 2 straight hours about things that really piss me off. And so I can't just turn it off and go to sleep. You know I still exist after I end the stream, right? I don't just exist in a two-dimensional space. You're doing this tomorrow too? You're too good, Artie. This type of work ethic might get you noticed and banned sooner than expected. I'm building parallel structures. I mean, the only thing that can... I have to live stream. What's his name? Zoomer Historian learned this too late. Remnant777 is just learning this now. Zoomer Historian learned this at 260,000 subs, and now he's going to be live streaming because alt platforms, you have to live stream. You don't get ad revenue. The engagement isn't as organic. And then Remnant777 just hit 100,000 subscribers, and he went, shit, that Zoomer Historian shit could happen to me, and now he's just starting to live stream. So I do a lot of underhooks with this shit, motherfucker. And so I realized that may happen. My last Nick Fuentes video is doing really well right now. So I got to grab as many. I just broke a record tonight. Usually it's like 200 to 300. Tonight was 600. So yeah, you have to just a word to the wise. If you're on YouTube and you're doing well and you're right wing and you know the pendulum's going to swing, I know you don't want to stream. I didn't want to stream at first either. But you have to. You have to stream on Rumble and on alt platforms. You have to. You cannot sustain your income once YouTube goes away. Let's see what else we got in chat. Just to cool it down. Fellas, I'm going to rip this heater so fucking hard when I get off. It's going to get me off. When I don't see you, you don't exist. Duh, I'm the main character, right? Wow, that was a high energy stream, fellas. Sweet mother of pearl. Good man. Artie's been learning these years. He's watched YouTube daily. Yeah, I've been watching 10 hours of YouTube a day for maybe a decade. I don't know. That's a slight over-exaggeration. But, you know, I'm like a Harrison Ford, right? His career didn't pick up until he was 35. Same thing with Anthony Cumia. Just so you know, I'm a direct disciple of Anthony Cumia. Atheist right-winger, radio shock jock. Listened to him for over 25 years. So, Anthony Cumia, I'm a disciple of what that man did. Got along with comedians. Held to his principles no matter what happened. And was friends with lots of different kinds of people, you know? It's really, if you want to understand what I'm doing, you're like, oh, how are you calling yourself these things? I'm doing a version of Anthony Cumia, is the best way. How old am I? You're not going to, okay, I'm going to tell you and you're going to forget. I'm 39 and I'm turning 40 in February. Go ahead. Go ahead and react to that. Let me guess, you thought I was 60. You thought I was much older, right? I look like I'm like 22 or like 25. So I have a theory that I never stopped feeling that way since that's what it looks like. I got like Andy Milonakis disease, kinda. Not nearly as bad. Right. There's nothing I can... My balls never dropped. I'm waiting for a second puberty. There's nothing I can do. Yep. I know, but it lowers the bar for me that people think I'm a young guy saying these things. But then they're like, wait a minute, why is me, a 30 or 40-year-old, 50-year-old, connecting with what he's saying because he's pulling out a fucking The Last Dragon reference from 1985 in my last video? There's nothing I can do. Go to bed, Gramps. Low testosterone. Maybe. I don't know. I have to, right? I have to have low testosterone. Doesn't sound like it. The Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes debate seems inevitable now. I couldn't disagree more. Ben Shapiro is running for cover. There's no way he wants to do that. Wow. You made an animation of Opie and Anthony, really? Well, what if I told you that I got into an argument with my dad and I uploaded it onto the internet and Bill Burr and Jim Norton made fun of it on Opie and Anthony in 2001. What if I told you that? What if I told you just don't know the lore, fellas? You don't know how deep I roll, motherfuckers? I could show it to you. I could. But I'm not gonna. Because I'm fucking exhausted. You people exhaust me. You don't know what it's like to go from, at the beginning of the year, kvetching online like myself and no one giving a fuck to people giving a shit what I say. It's exhausting. It's exhausting entertaining people. But it's going to go away at any moment, so I got to keep doing it. And with that, fellas, honestly, I'm going to have to start saying this because I mean it. I think I fucking love you guys. Like, this has changed my life. We have so much fun. And I really like my community. I will always say this. I was terrified when I was growing quickly that I was going to have a community that I didn't like. I'm actually proud of my community. Funny, insightful, really inappropriate, very offensive. I don't really ever see like any like arguments. Everyone just seems to get along. Very self-sustaining people. Yeah, call me gay. Yeah, dude. Gay. Do you want to hear my gay stories? You think that bothers me? Calling me gay? I haven't even told you my gay stories, okay? None of me doing gay stuff. Gayer than that. But that'll have to be for another time. Perhaps behind the paywall. Alright, fellas. I got the best, fellas. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to entertain you guys. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be unique because I'm going to be fucking mad. This is me happy. Have a good night, fellas.